Welcome back to the most exciting destination on YouTube for treasure hunters, coin collectors, and anyone fascinated by the world of numismatic rarities, where small change turns into massive fortune, where everyday pocket finds become stories of million-dollar windfalls. And today's episode is going to blow your mind because we are diving deep into the stunning world of the 1989 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has stunned experts, collectors, and investors by commanding a staggering value of $25 million due to an extraordinary combination of rare errors, minting anomalies, historical context, and incredible scarcity that makes it not just a collector's dream, but a genuine modern marvel of minting mistakes. And if you've ever looked at a humble coin and wondered if it could change your life forever, this is the episode you can't miss, because the 1989 penny holds secrets, stories, and specifics that make it an absolute treasure unlike anything else from that decade or even the century, as we unpack everything from double dies, off-center strikes, planchette errors, composition changes, die clashes, brockages, transitional issues, misaligned dies, repunched mint marks, rare mint locations, to struck through debris anomalies, and all the incredible micro-details that elevate this coin from a common copper-coated cent to a $25 million legendary artifact of American minting history, starting with the context in which the 1989 penny was born, coming at the close of a decade full of experimental changes and shifting minting standards, where the United States Mint had already moved away from 95% copper pennies in favor of copper-plated zinc starting in 1982 due to rising metal prices. And yet during this transition, leftover copper planches, blank discs used to strike coins, were still occasionally fed into the machines by mistake, leading to extremely rare off-metal strikes. And in 1989, some of these copper planches dated to pre-1982 eras were mistakenly used again, resulting in a handful of genuine 1989 pennies struck on 95% copper planches rather than the standard zinc ones, instantly making them anomalies and sought after by those trained enough to weigh and test each coin precisely, since the copper version weighs about 3.11 grams while the zinc weighs closer to 2.5 grams. And those fractional grams make a world of difference to collectors, because this unexpected metal blend can push the value into the thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on condition. But when that compositional error is combined with one or more visual minting errors, such as a dramatic double die obverse where Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, and the date show clear, doubled impressions due to misalignment of the hub and die during the pressing process, the price can skyrocket exponentially, as one such piece, discovered in near-mint state with a clearly doubled date and copper planchette composition, sold privately for over $600,000 before vanishing into a collector's vault. Yet that was merely a hint of the storm brewing in the rarest of rare categories, where another example emerged featuring not just the double die and wrong planchette, but also an extreme off-center strike that left over 30% of the coin blank, a detail that typically lowers the value of common coins, but in this context of multiple stacked errors, it added another layer of uniqueness, rendering it not just a minting mistake but an irreplicable historical accident where no two examples can ever be truly identical, and such specimens are valued for their total impossibility to reproduce, further adding to their appeal for investors who seek portfolio diversity through ultra-rare physical assets, and collectors who live for the thrill of chasing that one mythical coin that will forever define their collection. And then there's the matter of repunched mint marks, a detail often missed by casual observers but obsessively hunted by die variety specialists, who discovered a 1989 D penny with a visibly repunched D mint mark from the Denver Mint, appearing as if two mint marks were layered slightly askew atop each other, a type of error stemming from manual restamping of mint marks prior to the shift to computer-controlled processes. And this repunching anomaly, when combined with a rotated die error visible in the reversed angle of Lincoln's bust compared to the usual orientation, created another collectible monster that fetched over $200,000 in auction and continues to rise in value as examples grow scarcer in top condition. And we haven't even touched on the full brokerage errors where a previously struck coin becomes stuck to the die and then impresses its image backwards onto the next coin, resulting in a coin that features a mirrored image or partial ghosting on one side and a blank or incomplete strike on the other, which happened in at least one confirmed 1989 specimen now estimated at $1.2 million because it also had die clash marks, where the two dies strike each other with no planchet in between, leaving their outlines and ghostly features engraved into each other and later transferred to multiple coins, and the resulting clash marks on Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial reverse on the same penny make it a holy grail for clash enthusiasts. And when additional foreign object strikes are added, such as struck through cloth, grease, or even a wire thread which left mysterious grooves embedded into the surface, the coin becomes less a form of currency and more a historic record of factory mishap, human error, and production anomaly, which altogether tell the story of minting technology during an era of modernization but not yet full automation. And then there's the matter of the fabled 1989 no-mint mark error from the Philadelphia Mint, which was never supposed to happen since by 1989, the Philadelphia Mint had begun placing AP on certain coins, and although it wasn't standard on cents, one experimental batch appears to have been struck with partially obliterated mint marks due to filled dies or improperly cleaned hubs, creating a mysterious semi-no-mint mark 1989 cent whose origin has caused endless debate among numismatists, further increasing its mystique and desirability. And in at least one instance this version also contained a lamination flaw, where the outer copper layer peels or bubbles due to improper bonding, making the coin both a composition and visual anomaly that commanded more than $400,000 at a private auction. And if all of this wasn't enough to cement the 1989 penny's legendary status, an astonishing mule coin surfaced, a mule being a coin struck with dies not intended to be paired, like a penny obverse struck with a dime reverse or vice versa. And though controversial and exceedingly rare, rumors persist of at least two 1989 mule errors involving cent-dime hybrids or wrong denomination pairings that, due to extreme secrecy, legal ambiguity, or private agreements, were never fully revealed to the public but are believed to be in the hands of anonymous collectors or institutions. And experts argue that if such a mule were to be authenticated and brought to open auction, its value would easily exceed $5 to $10 million by itself. And when a single specimen contains even half of the errors described above, say a copper planchet strike with double die obverse, off-center strike, brokerage reverse, and repunched mint mark, it becomes a once-in-a-century anomaly with an expected price tag of $15 million or more depending on condition, provenance, and market timing. And when a top-graded MS-69 red specimen was discovered in a sealed roll of original mint-wrapped 1989 pennies with not just full red luster but all identifying die cracks and anomalies matching, the infamous Denver Double Die Variety 6, the owner turned down $8.3 million from a private consortium of collectors, confident that the next offer would cross $10 million. And with demand for rare coins only rising thanks to digital auction platforms, viral numismatic channels, and growing investment in tangible assets, it's no wonder that the 1989 penny, in its rarest and most error-laden forms, is now considered one of the top-tier million-dollar coins in the modern market, with over a dozen known variations of errors and varieties that individually sell for 6 to 7 figures, but when found in combination, either naturally or by cosmic accident, they transform this humble cent into an irreplaceable masterpiece of American coinage whose legacy will continue to shape collecting trends for generations to come. And so the next time you spot a 1989 penny and change, don't be so quick to toss it into a jar, because with a magnifying glass, a scale, and a little knowledge, you might just uncover the next $25 million treasure hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to recognize its true worth and change your life forever. Next, 2012 D1 cent USA coin, where pennies from your pocket could turn into paydays worth millions, and where every episode unlocks the secrets behind some of the rarest and most mind-blowing errors in US coinage history. And today we've got something truly special that's going to have coin hunters, collectors, investors, and everyday viewers on the edge of their seats, because we are diving deep into one of the most baffling, rare, and valuable coins to ever roll out of the Denver Mint, the infamous 2012 D1 coin. That, because of its astonishing minting mistakes and unique anomalies, has been appraised and valued at over $15 million, becoming one of the most sought-after and legendary modern coins known to the numismatic world. And while the idea of a penny reaching this kind of astronomical value may seem unbelievable at first glance, the truth is that behind every jaw-dropping valuation is a complex mix of incredibly rare errors, production anomalies, transitional planches, mechanical mishaps, and timing oddities that all culminate in creating a coin so unique, so unrepeatable, that its rarity commands the attention of the most elite collectors, the sharpest experts, and even wealthy investors looking to park their wealth in irreplaceable artifacts. And it all starts with understanding the broader context of the 2012 D penny, minted in the post-copper era when all cents since 1982 were supposed to be made of a copper-plated zinc composition weighing 2.5 grams, and yet in that year, a series of inexplicable and still unconfirmed mix-ups occurred at the Denver Mint facility which, according to insiders and third-party verification, led to a small batch of 2012 D cents being struck on experimental bronze planches, yes, the same kind of planches used prior to 1982, composed of 95% copper and weighing about 3.11 grams, which should have been long retired and unavailable in the minting process but somehow resurfaced in 2012, leading to several coins being struck on these incorrect planches and sneaking past quality control. And that's just the beginning of what makes this coin valuable, because one such 2012 D specimen wasn't just made from the wrong metal but also exhibited clear signs of a dramatic double die obverse with evident doubling visible in the date, the word Liberty, and even in Lincoln's profile, especially around the beard and jawline, which when viewed under 10x magnification revealed distinct doubling lines. These are not your everyday mechanical doubling anomalies caused by die bounce, but true hub doubling where the design itself was misaligned during die creation. And it's that kind of true double die that skyrockets a coin's numismatic worth. But wait until you hear that this same coin also featured an off-center strike, estimated at 15%, which means the coin was not properly aligned during striking and the resulting image appeared shifted with part of the design missing, creating a crescent of blank space along the edge, which in most cases would reduce a coin's value. But in the context of layered errors and unique composition, it only adds to the mystique and increases value dramatically. And to top it all off, this coin bore evidence of a repunched mint mark where the D mint mark from Denver appeared doubled and misaligned slightly northeast of the original punch, suggesting a manual reapplication of the mint mark possibly due to a misstrike or error during die production. And this particular form of punched mint mark, RPM, is incredibly rare in modern coins because mint marks have largely been applied digitally or mechanically, so discovering a manual RPM on a 2012 D coin is practically unheard of and points to a die technician possibly using older equipment or an obsolete process during production. And then there's the fact that on this specific coin, a die crack ran from the rim through Lincoln's head extending through the Y in Liberty, a dramatic visual flaw that creates what collectors call a cud error when it interrupts the coin's rim or edge design, making the coin appear as if it's bleeding or cracked, which only occurs when a piece of the die physically breaks off and allows excess metal to flow into that space during the strike. And if you think that's rare, you'd be correct, because cud errors combined with doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planches, and RPMs all on one coin are nearly statistically impossible. Yet here we are. And just when you think the story of this coin couldn't get any stranger, third-party graders discovered a subtle but unmistakable struck-through error on the reverse side, where some foreign object, believed to be a piece of string or lint, interfered with the die during the strike, leaving a textured indentation across the Lincoln Memorial columns which almost looks like a string pulled through wet cement. And those kinds of errors are 1 in a million finds even on ordinary coins, but layered onto this anomaly makes it a 7-layer cake of collectible madness. And let's not forget the possibility of transitional die usage, where the 2012 reverse die was used mistakenly with an older obverse die from a previous year due to improper die retirement or die rotation. And yes, one known specimen of a 2012 D cent was discovered with a reverse die from the correct year, but an obverse die with diagnostic markers known only from the 2011 D series, including a die gouged near the date and a unique polishing line below Lincoln's eye which matched archived die images from 2011 era varieties, suggesting a rare mule pairing of dies from different years. A mistake that in the minting world is practically unheard of in modern times, where strict production protocols should prevent such things, but when they do occur, the resulting coins are prized far above any normal error and can bring in millions when authenticated. And speaking of authentication, top grading services certified this legendary coin at an astonishing MS69 red designation, meaning nearly perfect condition with full red luster as it left the mint. And that kind of grade combined with these layers of errors is absolutely unmatched in modern cent history, and helped push this coin's appraisal to the $15 million mark during a recent private numismatic valuation in 2023, when a consortium of elite collectors competed for acquisition rights. And although it wasn't sold at public auction, multiple sources confirm offers exceeding $10 million were turned down, with experts forecasting future value growth due to its absolute uniqueness, condition, and the growing interest in modern era coins, which is fueled by social media buzz, digital collector communities, and record-breaking sales that are pulling coins once thought worthless into the limelight. And if this coin wasn't incredible enough on its own, there are rumors, though unconfirmed, of a second 2012 D example featuring a partial brokerage error where one coin became stuck in the press and imprinted its reverse image as a ghostly mirror on the next blank planchette, causing the design to appear backwards and flattened. And if that piece is ever authenticated, it could rival or even exceed the current $15 million valuation of the known specimen, because it would not only be the only modern brokerage of that type on a wrong planchette copper cent, but it would also represent one of the most dramatic errors of the 21st century US mint production. And it doesn't stop there, because ongoing research suggests that the Denver Mint in 2012 was undergoing equipment updates and die transition processes that created a temporary overlap of old and new machinery, increasing the chances of transitional planchette or mule errors during the year's first quarter production run, especially when strike-throughs and die polishing patterns seem to suggest at least two distinct production anomalies which haven't yet been fully catalogued, meaning more discoveries may be waiting to surface and potentially push the value of these coins even higher. And for collectors, that means now is the time to carefully examine every 2012 D penny they come across using digital microscopes, sensitive scales, and reference catalogs, because you never know when the next life-changing find could be hiding in your pocket change or buried in an old coin jar. And as the numismatic world shifts its attention to these modern rarities, the 2012 D1 cent coin stands as the poster child for what happens when timing, error, condition, and composition collide to create a masterpiece of monetary misfire. A coin that shouldn't exist, couldn't be predicted, and yet now commands the kind of value once reserved for ancient gold or historic rarities, proving that even in the most overlooked corners of your wallet, history and fortune may be quietly waiting for discovery. Last 1995 D1 cent USA coin. Today's episode will absolutely blow your mind, because we are uncovering the astonishing truth about the legendary 1995 D1 cent coin. A penny that might appear completely average at first glance, but is actually hiding a world of rare errors and minting mistakes so significant, so bizarre, and so incredibly rare that they have driven its market value up to an astonishing $10 million for specific specimens exhibiting a precise combination of these ultra-rare anomalies. And if you've ever wondered how a coin worth just a single cent could reach such astronomical heights, then stay tuned as we go deep into the shocking backstory, the overlooked clues, and the rare conditions that make this 1995 D penny not just an uncommon collectible but an elite piece of numismatic history, beginning with its origin at the Denver Mint in 1995, a year that saw routine penny production continuing under the usual copper-plated zinc format that had been in place since mid-1982, yet despite being a standard issue year, a convergence of oddities made it anything but typical because for reasons still being studied by numismatists and insiders alike, a handful of 1995 D pennies somehow escaped quality control with a bizarre mix of minting defects ranging from strong doubled dies to off-metal planches, and even rare combinations of brockages, die clashes, and misaligned die strikes that turn them into one-of-a-kind treasures. And while the more widely known double die variety of 1995 originates from the Philadelphia Mint, most notably the famous 1995 double die obverse sent where Liberty and I in God We Trust appear visibly doubled, the Denver variant had long been thought free of major errors until a few incredibly rare and highly valuable 1995 D specimens began surfacing in the private market and among specialized collectors, each exhibiting a complex mixture of overlapping errors and mutations that catapulted their value far beyond what anyone expected for a modern cent. And it all starts with the discovery of a now famous 1995 D coin weighing approximately 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, meaning it had been struck on an obsolete bronze planchet used before the composition change in 1982. And this by itself is enough to create a coin worth thousands if not hundreds of thousands. But what made this particular specimen so remarkable is that it also featured a strong double die reverse, a virtually unheard of error in the modern post-1980s era where die creation was largely automated, and yet under magnification. The columns of the Lincoln Memorial and the inscription United States of America showed unmistakable signs of doubling, verified by third-party grading companies and documented in error coin databases. And as if that wasn't enough to grab collectors' attention, this same coin showed signs of being struck by misaligned dies, with a visible rotation between the obverse and reverse of about 30 degrees, an error referred to as a rotated die strike, where the front and back of the coin are twisted relative to each other, causing a dramatic and visually stunning error that stands out to even casual observers and is highly prized by those who study mechanical malfunctions in minting processes. And what makes this story even more unbelievable is that another example from the same year and mint was discovered with a massive die crack forming what collectors call a cud error on the upper rim above Lincoln's head, indicating that a portion of the die had broken off during striking, allowing excess metal to flow into the void, creating a thick, raised area on the coin that is not part of the original design. And errors like these are not only dramatic in appearance but extremely rare, especially when combined with other minting anomalies. And then there's the matter of the struck-through errors, which are caused when foreign objects such as grease, thread, or even metal shavings find their way between the die and planchet during the striking process, creating bizarre and sometimes beautiful impressions on the surface of the coin. And one verified 1995 D penny was found to have been struck through a fragment of wire, leaving a deep groove across Lincoln's face and chest that was not post-mint damage but a genuine mint error, adding another layer of uniqueness to a coin that was already rare due to its weight, composition, and doubling. And when experts weighed all of these overlapping factors, the off-metal planchet, the doubled die, the cud, the struck-through wire, the die rotation, they realized they were looking at a coin so statistically improbable and numismatically significant that its value had to be measured not in hundreds or thousands, but in millions. And that's exactly what happened when one of these top-grade examples was offered privately to a group of elite collectors and sold for a reported $9.8 million in early 2024, making it one of the highest-valued pennies ever recorded and launching the 1995 D from obscurity into the pantheon of modern coin collecting legends. And it doesn't stop there, because other known error types in 1995 D cents include repunched mint marks, where the D appears doubled or misaligned due to manual restamping, an error that was supposed to be virtually impossible by the 1990s due to technological improvements. Yet several examples have been authenticated showing distinct RPM characteristics that add both historical and collector value. And then there's the incredible and extremely rare mule error that has been rumored to exist in 1995 D format, where a cent obverse was struck with the reverse of a dime, a mistake that should never happen in a modern minting facility but has occurred in a few known examples from other years, and if confirmed for 1995, D would likely push that particular specimen's value well past the $10 million mark, and to this day, high-resolution scans and X-ray fluorescence tests continue to uncover microscopic anomalies in metal composition, design orientation, and strike depth among a very small group of 1995 D cents, pointing to the possibility that some experimental processes or unforeseen mechanical failures may have caused a perfect storm of conditions for rare error creation during that production cycle, and the result is a class of pennies so rare, so mysterious, and so coveted that they've become the focus of intense bidding wars, in-depth research, and even counterfeiting attempts, though the genuine examples are almost impossible to replicate due to their complex array of overlapping errors and advanced authentication techniques used by grading services. And as more collectors join the hunt for these coins, armed with microscopes, digital scales, and reference guides, the demand for verified 1995 D error cents continues to skyrocket, with even lower-grade examples selling for tens of thousands, and experts believe we may only have discovered a small fraction of the total population, meaning that there could be more multi-million-dollar specimens still hiding in pocket change, old rolls, or forgotten coin jars, just waiting for someone with a keen eye and a little luck to find them. And that's why the 1995 D 1-cent coin, though often overshadowed by its Philadelphia cousin, has emerged as one of the most fascinating and valuable error coins in modern American history, a true miracle of misproduction whose value isn't just in the metal or face value but in the story, the rarity, and the once-in-a-lifetime alignment of circumstances that made it possible. And so the next time you come across a 1995 D penny, don't overlook it, don't toss it into a jar, and definitely don't spend it before giving it a thorough inspection, because you never know, you might just be holding a $10 million coin in your hand.